Okay. Hey guys, I'm Casey. I'm the president of GAPP, and we're really excited to. Yeah, they're so sweet. We are really excited that we were able to bring in guest lecturers for us this year. And when we were looking at people to bring in, we were really thinking about not only our project about designing for the future, but also just being sustainable in general and thinking about new materials to use or materials that we know and use them in different ways and the innovation with all of that. And so when I found CLACLÁ, I was really excited because they use a variety of materials and they really think about the spirituality in their design. So I don't want to say too much because I don't want to ruin it, but thank you, Axel and Claudia, for coming all the way from the other side of Mexico. So they had a 23-hour travel journey to get here. So thank you all for coming.
Tienes que explicar eso.
I am from Sí, can you hear us back? Sí, we can do this.
Okay.
We can do this.
It's better.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm Claudia I was born in Mexico City, but I moved to Ensenada, Baja California 20 years ago. And together.
Hi, I am Axel. I am from Guadalajara, and together we are CLACLÁ. That means the sound of the work in the hand labor to the material. So all of our work are connected with the craftsmanship to the architecture.
Yeah, CLACLÁ is it's the finding of each material to its place, covered by the hands of the artisans and finding its place in architecture. So that's why it's CLACLÁ, 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 CLACLÁ. No, it's Well, when we arrived to Baja California, we thought that landscape was incredible because as we were both born in a big city, they are maybe two of the three most populated cities in Mexico. So landscape was our legacy. Landscape was exactly the opposite of what we lived when we were young, no? Well, we have a difference, a huge. He could be my son, because he's 30 and I'm almost 60. So, but we found each other in a project, and since 2014 we've been working together through landscape.
And also, our approach to the new projects is like the old one idea. ¿Cómo se dice? Pre-Hispanic idea. Sorry, pre-Hispanic idea to approach to the project is a landscape approach to the architecture. So,
so it's a pre-Hispanic cultures in Mexico approached architecture through the landscape, and they carefully chose their places to build their cities, their pyramids, and their temples. And so now...
And also, right now we live in Guadalupe Valley, that is the wine country of Baja California. And I think this is important because it's our context, and our context is the quotidianity is connected with the soil, with the agricultural production, and we produce wine together. So and it's good. So these kind of things are important to our work. Every year we are try to understand more the complexity of the process of the seasons, no? And I think all of the agricultural things that we do, it's part of our work right now. Sorry for my English, I try to do my best.
Now I can say that he's been only 6 months in English, so he's doing a great job. I think he's doing a great job. See, so yes, I think our work is rooted on the land, and we are very passionate about how things grow. We are very passionate on how they attach to the soil. So, and that's why we care about the seasons. We mostly start our projects, our construction projects in winter, because that's when we can transplant all of the entities or habitantes, ¿cómo se dice habitantes? The inhabitants of the land that we're going to touch, that we are carefully trying to not touch exaggerately, no?
California landscape too.
Well, this is Baja California. It's a very, very rough landscape. Most of our vegetation is my size. The tallest is my size. It's something strange. This is Mulegé, part of the peninsula, and we are always trying to understand where we're standing and who's inhabiting our land. When we first did a little excavation in this project, the bees attacked us, and we understood that we needed to find a solution because we were getting into their house, into their homes, no? So we are always trying to do architecture. We're trying to do architecture from the landscape, no? These are some vineyards that we designed, like a pattern. There were all these oak trees that we surrounded. And agriculture is always present in Baja California because there's nothing but agriculture. No? This is another project in Baja California. This is a little house on top of a hill that this is under construction now, and it has the silhouette of the top of a mountain, and we were trying not to have it so exposed and so that it wouldn't shout as a piece of architecture, no?
Mm-hmm. Okay, see. And I think the landscape is not only a picture. The landscape is have more information about the habitants. So if you can understand a culture with only watching the landscape or the cities, no, the urban landscape or the countryside landscape. So I think the architecture is in the middle. You have the nature and the humans, and the architecture is the mediator, exactly. Thank you. The mediator between these two opposite, no, entities. So the idea to try to do architecture from landscape is deeper. It's not only for a good picture, no. It's for understand the soil, for understand the culture, for understand the seasons, for understand all of the information and how to transform this context in a good quality of life.
Mm-hmm. And then when we come to the idea of from architecture to landscape, then normally when you go from landscape to architecture, the response on the way back is amazing because you can see the landscape through your work, no? Which is what we always need to, This is a project that we did with irrigation pipes that were useless in the wine country. This is an apartment that we wanted to, it was in front of the ocean, and we set up a roof, a mirror roof, so that it would duplicate the landscape. That's the same one. This is the other building that's also in Ensenada. This is a theater overlooking the landscape. No? See, the idea of framing things has always been very important to our work, and this is some place in Casa Uno. We did it through a window from deep in the soil. Casa Uno is also in Ensenada.
See, the next one is two examples of two projects that is in the same region, but is separate only like 1 kilometer or less, and it's interesting to see how difference between the both projects and also if you see only the pictures, maybe you think it's for the different architects. So I think it's a good example how to approach to a different context and also in the same region.
This is a house, a 4-story house. This is the first floor, the third floor, and the fourth floor. And this is the section, no? So you can see that it's dug down into the mountain. And it was a very important mountain on the landscape, and there will be other houses on that little hill. So we were we were the first ones to build. So we were very concerned about what will happen when the other houses were built. So we chose to dig down the house so that not the whole thing would be seen and would obstruct the whole topography of the little hill. No? These are the vineyards that we planted. We had so many agronomists that were saying, Claudia, this is not going to work agriculturally. And now they're doing many of them in Ensenada because it's cheaper to irrigate in a circle. No? You can have like the same pressure on both sides, so it's cheaper to irrigate. Less energy, less pipes. And this is the landscape of what can be seen from the Casa Uno project, no? Which is there. No? We were starting to dig down the structure, the landscape. No? ¿Y ahora cómo regreso? So this is we started in December, as I said, because it rains in December, in winter. So we transplanted all of the plants on the site and started digging it down. It was really a heartbreaking construction for us because it's so intrusive, no? But these are the whole platforms that we needed to host the house, no? You can see there's a little tree on top of the excavation, and we tried so much to save that little tree because there's no trees in Baja California, and these trees were very important for our project. And we even hung it as a brazier. I said it was like a bra, trying to hold the tree down on top of the mountain. But we had to take it out after all those efforts. But now we know that it needs to come back again because it died. That tree died because this was maybe in July or something, so it was so hot that the tree died.
I think it's important to say the fear took this decision because it's obvious that it's possible to preserve, but every time in the construction you have the two ways to see the risk, no? If you don't take risk, you don't do it a good project.
See, experimentation is something that we always do in our practice, and the footprint of this, it was so strong and so abrasive, no? But we knew that we were working for the future, no? That was something. And this is a house that we finished 2 years ago, and we're still struggling with the plants that we took out. We had maybe a 90% success. But we are replanting more and more so that the house is covered completely by the same landscape.
Only for the context, all of the vegetation from Baja California is really difficult to replicate. And it's normal in Mexico, I don't know why, but it's normal when you buy a land, the first step that you do is to clean the land, no? But is destroy the land. So this is a practice that we are trying to change cultural, and if you try to restore the vegetation, you need to do this is, ¿puedes regresar más rapidísimo? Esa. This is 3 years of every year try to restore the first colonizers' plants for the others can stay in this soil. So it's a lot of work for this result, and it's not finished. We need like 4 years more for restore the original landscape, no, the original ecosystem.
We also used we also used trash from California. All of these these beams were from a warehouse in Los Angeles. So all of California's trash ends up in Baja California, all of it. And ¿cómo? See, and all everything was done with all of this recycled and reclaimed wood, and this is all for the pouring of the concrete. This is we used everything. We have the idea that everything that comes into the site will not go out, so there's no trash. That we had to see where to put every single nail that was left over. So it's architecture with the doors closed out. So we had to think very, very closely what will we be bringing to the site, no? And well, we experiment. We like to experiment all the time. And this is we were walking on the site, and we always have our workers to bring their bottled water or sodas to a place. And I was picking up trash that I was seeing on the ground during construction, and I saw this plastic bag. No? So I pulled it up, and this is what happened. There was this incredible texture on the concrete, and so we were going to make all the concrete like the one on the right, and we decided to do it with the other texture because we wanted to have the idea that it was like a cave, like una cueva, no? And we made so many samples of what plastic we were going to use, but as we had already in the project the liner that goes that supports the back of the house, we decided to use that same plastic, that film, to pour the concrete. So we would get all these shapes that we could not control. No, every pouring was a mystery. We didn't know what was going to happen. All the corners, no tenemos de las corners. All the corners that we planned, they were going to be square, ended up to be round. So it's an interesting texture that we got.
And I remember in this construction, in this project, no, pero ya sí, casa uno. The constructor, the owner of the construction company, in the moment that, like in every construction, is the tension in the middle of the construction. The client need to finish, and the constructors are tired of doing a lot of things. So I remember when we have a meeting, the owner of the construction company tell us, the problem is you are doing a craftsman architecture. This is really your problem. It's like an insult for us, no? But for me, it's a compliment. So
that's exactly what we tried to do.
Exactly.
And then Galería Dos Hijas, which is, tú quédate con el micrófono. Then Galería Dos Hijas, this is a project that's just maybe a kilometer away, but it's a huge difference of a land. This project was set up in an acre of land, and we tried. ¿Sí?
Es que lo tienes que están grabando, acuérdate.
I'm sorry. And this is the landscape that we were about to touch. there's always a huge fear of touching, no, to us, no. Every time that we have our first hand in the land, it's like so much of a responsibility. So we started doing these trails so the workers would not interfere with our plants, no? And so we did all these little paths for construction. We were dreaming, absolutely. No, we were still all dreaming that would happen, because the land was already very touched by vehicles, by animals, by coyotes, by rabbits, by so many things that were transiting the land. This is our first, with our clients, we traced the project. And this is interesting because this is a couple of Americans from Michigan that burnt all their ships in Michigan and came to live to Mexico. So we were so responsible for what was happening. And when they hired us, they gave us a little drawing with 2 squares. I want this to be my kitchen and this to be my bedroom, and please do it with $200,000. But we need to buy the land with the $200,000. So we said, well, yeah, we can do it. We can do that. Those little 2 rooms, they thought that we were going to go buy some drywalls and all of that. No, they were a bit wrong. No. So we started. We started with this. When you build with earth, with soil, things go exactly the other way around. You have to have a very good and profound foundation with a canal, so that the cob. This is a cob house, which is made with.
It's like a boat.
Like the boots. It's like there's 2 rules for a cob house: boots and hats. No? So that you can be prepared for rain or wind or whatever. No? So the boots is the stones, and the foundations are interesting because they need to be like a canoe, so that you can stick the cob with your hands. Now, when you go to a little bit higher level, you need some machines. And
the next, when you are more higher, you need other machines that you will see, and in this moment change everything, because the huella, the footprint is before that we need to use this one, the backhoe. It was more closer to the buildings, and later when we need to change to the backhoe, you see the footprint the impact are most big. So this is an interesting. We learn about this. We need to think in the next project. The phase of the construction is the most destructive. No, the process, not the project. It's the process of the project. So you will see the video here.
It's interesting because in both projects, we think that the construction was the worst part of restoring the land, and so we have to think of how we will be introducing machinery, people, and materials to the construction sites. Because if we would have said to have like building from the inside only, then we would have had to design it a little bit different, no? But now we know. Now we know that if we want to do a tall building with cob, it needs some more space, no? And so this is how we use the backhoe also to pull people up, because this is a building that has, it's 9 meters, 9 por 3, 20, almost 30 feet tall. And it starts with the width of the walls on the bottom are 1 meter thick. And it has a little slope inwards to have 40 centimeters, like 1.5 feet on top at the end. And everything is done by it's like a clay pot. You have to infuse, like integrate what you did yesterday with what you're doing today. So it's a one-piece building. And we could do a tall building like this, a COB building like this, because of the geometry of the building itself. Nobody wanted to do the engineering. No engineer would help us. And as we have a very lax authorities, we were able to do it. But we've been through huge earthquakes, and not a single crack has happened. It's because of both the thickness of the walls, the one-piece building, which is very, very different with adobe, because adobe are many, many little pieces put together. But this one is one whole, it's as strong as a brick, but it's a one-piece building, no? This is the inside. We used also all of the wood. We needed to buy the wood from the first day because COB building, you need to do the framing as you start building. So we, and also, we don't do all the outlets, the electrical or water outlets in the first phase. It's like a clay pot. You can just carve them down, so you can decide whenever you are doing that, you can decide if that would work properly. It was designed, but we moved so many, you can't imagine. So, and you could see the frameworking, the wooden doors, and the oven. There's a little oven that is
Bueno. And the other thing is when we are constructed, you see the sticks inside in the building, and if we are designing a new building like this is an interesting part of the process, because you first need to do a simbra. How do you say simbra? A mold. The form, with wood, of course, for have the shape and for bring the material to the upper parts. So, and it's interesting part with the shadows and many things. And so for us, we learn that in this kind of projects, experimental projects, the important part, a really good important part for the context is the process. And because every time we separate the final products of the architecture with the process, no, and we don't see these little parts.
So this is part of what you will be what you see from is a road. Well, this is an aerial, no, pero. The idea was that our process of construction was made from the back, so that when you drove the road, the little road, you would not see any impact on the landscape. So you cannot see where was the construction site was, and suddenly it started to emerge. So it's a clay, hay, and se llama granite mixture. And for the plaster, we use for the plaster we use manure, and it holds so well. We did all the floors. All the floorings are also earth with hot oil, and it's so many layers, and it stays beautifully. No? Well, the windows, and these are the bottles. All of the bottles that we, all of the workers used, we have always in our building sites these containers, so that they throw them there, because we use them as an insulation for the roofs. We have them there, and we let air come through. So Ensenada is a very extreme climate place. It's the ocean is always fighting with the desert. So we can have, in one day, we could have maybe 40 degrees Celsius, which is 102 or something like that. In the same day, we are 30 degrees Celsius, which is like 30 grados. No, 40 degrees and no, 21 degrees. ¿Cuánto es? Sería 72 or something, 70, 72 on the same day. So insulation is very, very important. And we couldn't, this is an autonomous building. We built a little dam, and they have to buy water trucks because it's not raining. Last year it rained 1/3 of what we always have. So we're trying to get harvest water from the air, but it's not enough. And we treat all the water. We do our treatment plants as passive treatment plants in all of our projects, because in order to have a landscape, you need to provide how you will irrigate them with not as much cost. So we always do our irrigation, our treatment plants in our projects. And this is what happened in the end. The project is a house for these two Americans that are painting. So one is a painting studio. The other one is it's the three buildings. The other one is their daughter's space for whenever they go and visit them. And this is the studio and their house. And well, we think that architecture is never apolitical. And we always think that whenever we do a building, we are making a statement, a statement for the earth, for our governments to be more sensible on nature, because I know that you here in the States is so difficult it could never happen here. It could never happen here. And
maybe.
Well, maybe.
No, tú. No, tú.
And the idea is that we shape, as Churchill said that we shape our buildings, but they shape us after. So thank you very much. So I don't know if you have any questions, if you want to ask something. Allá arriba.
Can you hear me? On? I don't think it's on. Is it? Okay. My question was whether the water bottles on the roof.
We can't hear you. Okay. It's not on, I think.
Okay. So are the water bottles filled with water, or are they air for the
No,
insulation?
it's air. It's air. The idea is there's some little holes between the two layers of plywood. It's a plywood roof. And the idea is that air comes through the bottles, and you can close them in winter, so that they don't get the air from outside. No? So, and it works incredible. It's about 1.5 feet, or maybe 2 feet high. The sandwich for the roof, and with the walls, the temperature inside is always maybe 24, 23. It's really incredible when outside is 4 degrees. So it works really, really well, and it's a very simple solution, and cheap, super cheap. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can walk on top of it. On the third building, the painting studio. There's a terrace where they go up and see the sunset, because they can see from up there, they can see the ocean. So they can see the ocean from there. And yes, we achieved to do it with $200,000, which was amazing. They couldn't believe it, because they wanted just too little. I don't know why, but well, they wanted a good land. No?
Sí.
¿Qué dirías?
No, ya, tú dijiste todo.
¿Sí?
How challenging was it to
No.
find?
Excuse me.
How challenging was it to find workers who could work with mud in the
Híjole,
area?
I can't, sorry. Well, that's a great question because, see, not even the workers had ever done cob. We brought them from Acapulco, and now it's our responsibility also with the hurricane, it's been awful. And they came from Acapulco. They knew like some artisanal way of working, but they had never done cob. So we even had an American girl came to come over, and at first she taught us maybe for 2 months, and when she came back, it was already all the way up, and but no one in Ensenada knew about this way of building, and I think that it works really well for the desert. It really works well. Pues no sé, sí. Talking about Acapulco. Sí, sí, and also labor in Mexico is very, very cheap. So in this project, what I like about it also is that maybe 70% of the cost is labor. So that is political also, no? It's something that we really think on all of our projects, no? It's craftsmanship, see? See. And maybe I can invite you. We're doing this little project for one house in Acapulco, built with the trash that Otis, the hurricane, left behind. So we are thinking of making this little house. One of our workers lost everything. The only thing that they preserved was their toilet. You can see the pictures, and it's only the toilet, and all of the house it disappeared. So we are trying to promote designers to think about, I don't know if you've seen pictures of what happened in Acapulco, but even the most expensive buildings were absolutely destroyed. And so there's a lot of materials. A material is a material as long as it's not mixed with other materials. So that's what we do in our projects. All the time, we separate wood this way, metal this way, concrete this way, so that we can use everything, so that it doesn't become trash. And I think that it's a design perspective that if you are interested on participating, please write to us, and it would be great to have fresh ideas on how to use materials that have been destroyed. No, we are doing a project in the office with mattresses, because a mattress is already a structure. No? So it could be used very, very fast to provide. And every mattress in Acapulco were destroyed and are useless. So we are gathering all the mattresses. If you would like to participate, send us your ideas. And we are going in January to build this little project for our workers. I don't know if you have some other questions.
No, tú lo estás haciendo muy bien.
I'm just gonna hold it here so they can hear. What kind of passive water treatments do you include in your projects? Because you said that that's important throughout.
Sí, seguro. The name of it, I learned it because I used to live in Oaxaca, which is a southern state of Mexico, a very, very poor state. And many international organizations worked there, showing people different methods to treat water, to collect water, to many, many things. And I worked with them many years, with a TU, la Universidad de Berlin in Germany. They came and we worked together. No? And this type of passive water treatment idea is it's called Sutrane, which is an aerobic system that it's not very popular because it's not a business, because you can build it yourself. So that's why it's not very common to see it in huge cities or like that. But all of our houses have it. And we can take its chambers of sedimentation, aired by some piping that you need to pump air naturally. You need to see where the wind comes from so that air goes through. And after that, it's very easy. It's a filtered, some filters, and then wetland. But before the wetland, it's only a matter of ¿cómo se llama? El azul, ultraviolet, so that water that comes out is free of harm, no? And activated carbon for smells. It's so easy, and you can use that water again in the toilets, and with the carbon, you'll take the color out, so it's clearly transparent, no? And odorless. And then for the gardens, it's important, because how can we promote gardening if we don't have water? So it's the first thing, no? So that's why we always do that, because otherwise our clients will say it's impossible to finance my garden, no? So that's why we're doing that.
Thank you.
Hello.
Maybe I can give you this one.
No.
No? Or
My question was dealing with the scaling up of this particular type of architecture. Could this be scaled up as far as like using this as a solution to solve with like homelessness and other issues that are within your particular region in Mexico?
homelessness, you said?
I mean,
I didn't understand the question.
Yes.
Homelessness.
Yes, as far as like other issues like overcrowding and things like that, if that's an issue. Like I missed the first part of it, so I'm sorry if that's.
No, don't worry. Well, actually, it's not an expensive if you have the labor, because in poor countries you have labor, and if they, for example, we are in a group that every Sunday we go out together and help somebody to build their own house. It's called in Spanish tequio, which means collaborative work that will end up helping you when you need it, no? And so we go and we try to build somebody's house. And normally it's only the people that are in the community, no, in the tequio. But it could absolutely work if we could find a community that needs it. It's really easy. It's clay, it's hay straw and granite, and labor. It's the very, very good solution for low-income housing. The problem is the space, no? Because walls are thick. You need to, walls are thick, maybe, well, it depends on how high you want it, but walls are thick. So space is the problem, the main problem. No? And credit. No one will give you credit, financing. The bank will finance a house like that. So those are the struggles that we are encountering. No? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the method of the materials that you've chosen and everything works really well. And you were saying specifically for your region because the cost of labor is really affordable. And you were even hinting at like, I don't know if it could even work here because the cost of labor is so high. And I was wondering if you've ever thought about how this sort of like recycling of materials and like even the mattresses and stuff like that may be applicable to a in a society where technology is more readily available rather than labor, and how that might transition to that instead technology based instead of labor based. Have you ever thought about how that might work or begin to tackle that?
It's interesting because this morning when Casey showed us your school, not even Mexico's most important university have those workshops. So you're so lucky to have them. So technology is so far from our hands. It's you that need to bring us solutions, you from here. No? So maybe it's a challenge to use whatever you're learning here, but do it more sustainable. No? Instead of going through towards industrialization, going backwards. No? And our problem now in Mexico is that most of the population wants to be like you, like the Americans, and they are destroying their beautiful houses because they want a house as the one that they lived here. And it's our problem too, because we need to show them how to preserve their own houses so that they can, ¿cómo se dice? Gozarlas, para que las puedan gozar. So that they can enjoy their architecture. And we've been trying to do that, but we have not been successful at all.
For example, in Galería Dos Hijas, if you don't use the, ¿cómo se llamaba la retro? The back hole is impossible. Also, we have a lot of workers, but without the technology, of course, it's not technology, but without the machines, without this help, it's impossible. No, it will be impossible. And the main thing is, if you use this kind of tools, you need to think what is the consequence, because in this project, make this possible, but in the same way, have the more destruction in the footprint. So if we are with, ¿cómo se dice? Si hubiéramos pensado en eso, if we would have thought. Exactly, this one. Before, maybe the design will be different. So we need to think, no? The technology is a tool, but we need to think deeper for understand how to use these tools without destroying properly. Exactly.
See, and also there's some exercises of 3D printing with soil. I don't know if you've seen them, but they are expensive, no? I don't know how more expensive they would be towards what we did here. A lot more expensive. No, see, I can assume. I don't know, but I can think that it's
the cost of these buildings in this moment, of course, is before pandemic, because later of the pandemic is everything is more expensive. But before is like the square meter. The cost of this is exactly the same of the cost of a square meter of ¿cómo se dice? Vivienda social, social housing in Mexico. So it's the worst design, the worst construction is the same cost, and the worst spaces is exactly the same cost. So
we need to promote it, because it changes the life of, it molds you. Where you live molds, shapes your life, no? Sí. Creo que es el de allá, no sé. It doesn't work. Anyway.
I'm curious about your background and what brought you to thinking this way about architecture.
Scarcity.
Yes. I think that scarcity, as Axel says, is a great tool to use. If you use it properly. We lived in Oaxaca, which is a very poor state. Not as much anymore now because of tourism, but it has destroyed it because of the tourism. And we went to live to Oaxaca because we wanted to experience the deep Mexico. When I lived in Mexico City, it's one of the most populated cities in the world. So I was not aware of the landscape. I was not aware of the moon, the stars, everything that surrounds us. I was not aware.
So
And
it's
when
not poor.
it's not.
So
Oaxaca is not poor, absolutely not. But then when we found how the structures of the little towns were built, for example, we were working in a little town south of the Oaxaca city, and their patios, it's a coffee sustained village, no? And all of the patios were sized because of the carpets where they dry their coffee. No, it was beautiful because it was, if you had a parcel of maybe 2 acres, you would need maybe 5 carpets. So your patio was 5 carpets big. No? And it was beautiful because you saw how the agriculture scaled the towns and how it scaled everything. So, and when we were working there, we saw how they used all of the materials. They used every single thing a plastic bag that was so filthy. They would wash it and reuse it 1,000 times, no? Because plastic was not there yet. No? This was 1990, something like that. And so we were very young and trying to like a sponge, to integrate in ourselves as architects all of these knowledge, no? All the bottles, how they used them, how they solved so many things on structures, because their structures were wooden structures, how they built them in the adobe houses. We learned a lot. And then when we went to live after Oaxaca, we went to the border. And so we saw all this incredible trash that was coming from the States, all of it. And we were able to see that. We were able to see that those materials were so incredible because they have a soul. They already have had a life. And you can see that life when you finish a building with all these materials. You can actually hear the stories behind them. It's not as if it was coming from Home Depot. No? It's another way of thinking. Architecture to us is like cooking. No? I think that whenever you have not gone to a supermarket for more than a week, you have to open your fridge. What do I have? What can I invent from what's in here? There's almost nothing, no? Almost nothing. But what beautiful thing can I do with it? So that's like the way of thinking of our office. No?
And also it's an economical thing. Why tabla roca is the same drywall? Okay. Why a drywall is more cheap to buy in these kind of towns right now, in the middle of nowhere? You can buy a block or tabla roca or this international material, the construction materials, and why is more cheaper? If you have stones, if you have soil and other things, but it's an economical problem because it's a long journey, but the money is broken. So we are subsidizing these industries. It's not real, no? It's impossible that this is real. Why these materials are more cheaper than the materials that are?
I know why.
Petroleum.
No, I know why. Because those businesses or those industries are destroying. In Baja California, there's an island called San Marcos. It's a chalk island. It's a beautiful island in the middle of the Sea of Cortez. And if you drive by its side, you can see the destruction. Boats and boats and boats are coming out subsidize.
We are subsidizing
We're
these.
subsidizing
We are subsidizing these materials. The nature are subsidizing, of course, all of us, but it's the nature that are subsidizing this. For example, the Iceland is island, and the island is a Cal island, no? Chalk. Okay, it's a chalk island. If you going to the store, the material stores, you can buy a bag.
Gypsum.
Gypsum.
Sí, cierto. Gypsum.
This.
Chalk is because I was in school.
Okay. So you can buy a big bag with gypsum. For $5. So imagine, or imagine the destruction. So it's cheap. The problem is more cheap to destroy a landscape. This is the real problem. So it's an economical problem. This is the reason that we put the architectural is never a political. When you are doing these kind of projects, you put a statement and maybe you can change a little the wave.
See, and also I can, I cannot bet on that, but many of the buildings built in the States, their sand comes from our rivers. So much is being destroyed. All our rivers are being dragged down, and absolutely, we're going to have a desert, a more desert if that still happens. So we're fighting against that because boats and ships filled with sand are coming here, and also to China and so many other countries.
We see this every day because we live in the border. You see the trucks with the sand. Also, it's illegal, but you know, no. You see the trucks with the sand, and we see a lot of times in the rivers in Baja California, also in the Guadalupe Valley, that is an important part of Mexico. You see the backhoes digging the arena? Sand, sorry.
So maybe that's why.
Hidden part of
the hidden part of construction. That's how it goes.
Okay, you mentioned. Okay, sorry. You mentioned that there was kind of a drought last year, and you weren't collecting as much water as you had hoped. Are there any other effects of climate change that you've seen over the last 20 years of working, and how have you combat that, or what innovation techniques have you tried?
I think the most radical change that we see is the mentality of the people, not the climate change. I think the problem that we have is the ambition, because Mexico is growing. No, if you go into Ensenada, you see new buildings, you see the people arriving to try to have a part of this, for example, of this cake. Okay. So for me, I think, I don't know if you think the same, but for me, the main problem is the mentality. I don't know why, but all of the Mexico, the new part Tulum is the same. Valle Guadalupe, Oaxaca also have this voracity for construct without any deeper thinking.
Sí, and ya se me olvidó la pregunta.
Que si has visto algún cambio
relacionado. Regarding climate change, well, absolutely. We had never had a hurricane in Ensenada, and it struck San Diego too, that had never had one. And this is something that puts an alert. Because for winemaking, for example, this is horrible. This is the end of a vitivinicular zone. And it's moving north. So there's our territory is the last territory for winemaking in Mexico. It's because we are on the very south. And so now we are having to change our grapes for other type of grapes, for example, Greek grapes or Northern African grapes, so that we can cope with drought, no? See, with drought. Also climate, no? We've had so little cold in our winters. Last year, we didn't have a winter. We did not have a winter. So of course we can see it, and the way that we are trying to put our little energy on that is to be very, very careful on how we irrigate, on how we use water, and how to reforest our communities, because they are being built so badly, leaving no space for vegetation, that this brings drought. No? So we are doing some little work on that and putting a little attention on that, because there's so many things to do that it's impossible to cope them all. Pero por ahí va. Actually, we saw a tree here. No, it's interesting because holly, you said? We are very knowledgeable about our plants because we have so little of them, and they're so small that we saw one that in Ensenada it grows only to here. So Axel's house is made. We dug it down so that little tree could give a shade, where we could be hidden, because in California they've planted so big trees around the cities, and that's why fires are so dangerous, because they are fuel. So the idea is to not change the landscape. We have to. We are the intelligent ones, no? That's what it's supposed to be. So why would we do that instead of, ¿cómo se dice? Aclimatarnos, to integrate us. Acclimate. See, and today we saw this holly, and I said, it's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's a holly. It's not possible, because our hollies are these tall, and they will never grow. Even though if you irrigate, they die, because our plants will not tolerate water in summer. Absolutely, they drink in winter and they sleep in summer. So if you irrigate them in summer, they come alive, and and they die, because they don't understand and they die. So it was interesting to see this huge holly, and maybe we are still in Darwin's hands, no? No? I know we have.
So I kind of have a little bit of a two-parter question. It's recording. Okay.
You still need to be loud so they hear you.
Okay. So anyways, Mexico is covered with all kinds of different climate zones and everything. How do the building materials, the native traditional building materials in the south of the country, differ from the ones further north?
Oof. There was a picture in our presentation that I forgot to mention. These couple of Americans came, they burned all of their things here. Well, they sold them, and they flee to Ensenada, and they lived for 3 years in a trailer. And this is like the crashing of the two cultures, no? Because we built them an earthen house. No? so they lived in this little trailer for 3 years. And that's how so many people live in the north of Mexico, because we have the influence of the very light constructions, the very, very light constructions of the states, no? That, like the timber structured housing, no? And when we started digging the foundations, they were so excited, because they thought this was going to be a house that would last forever, no? So see, that's the trailer where they lived. And it was interesting to see when you were in front of their huge window there, you could see at the end the trailer. No, it was really, really interesting. And they sold their trailer to finish their house. So because they wanted some they wanted a hot tub that we could not afford. Then they wanted, so they sold it, and now they are rich people because yeah, absolutely. I think they have the most incredible sky. There's no light pollution in their place. It's really, see, that's true. Those pictures are true.
Only,
So.
and I think all of the answers, it's in the vernacular architecture. The people in the places without this kind of material, industrialized materials, have the necessity for live. So all of the answers, I think, is in the history and also in the nature. So when we have a new projects in other parts, for example, in Mulegé, when we are trying to understand the soil, to dig, we have the bees attacking us. So we understand.
They attacked him. They never attacked me, eh?
Yes.
That was strange. Cedar brought.
Maybe. But because in this place it's beautiful. You see the ocean and you are in the upper part, but you never, it's super extensive. You never listen. No, and the animals. You never see and insects and the bugs. You never see anything. And we start digging, we understand all of the fauna live inside of because the soil is like a strange structures that they have caves.
It was under the ocean, so it's like a huge coral. And imagine to touch a coral. What would you do if you have that land? How can you be brave enough to touch that land? And there are so many little creatures living underground. No, we'll let you know what happened. When, no,
Sí.
¿Qué más?
No, creo que dos preguntas. You have two questions?
Yeah. So the other thing is, I did a project a couple years ago, and y'all are talking about different, natural building materials. And I'm curious to know if it's used very much in the region that y'all build in. It's called hemp lime, and it's
hemp plant.
yeah. So it's like a combination of like hemp, the stalk of the hemp plant, and like a lime binder, and it sort of solidifies into like a
sealant.
Yeah, like almost like a.
No, the cactus.
No, hemp plant is
Yeah.
La mota.
I'm trying to think of the word. Like a. Yeah.
Of like natural materials, like it's
Yeah.
basically like a hemp stalk and a lime binding that creates like an all natural concrete.
We have never used it. It would be interesting if you showed us some. Hemp is a bit difficult in Mexico now because of violence. It's not used. It's not legal, and because we are struggling so hard with violence in Mexico because of drug dealing and all of that. No? So maybe it's not possible in Mexico, but I don't know. No, I have never heard of it. No, ¿tú habías oído?
Yo sí sabía, pero
Sí.
no. Pero en México no.
See, I don't know if I really don't know if that would be feasible in Mexico. Maybe in the future when we can control what we smoke, when you can control what we smoke, or when we can grow what we smoke, or we can control our smoking. We cannot control our drinking. See, I don't know if there's another question. Did I answer your first one?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I'm so lucky.
My question is about the business side. So just going through like how do you run your business? You have to keep the lights on. If you have employees and all that, because you talked about the wine that you also farmers, and I think I got something like that you're farmers, and also you're doing this architecture. But what I see from that, you're spending time like with these buildings, being sensitive about what you're doing, and that's a lot of time. So I want to like just position the time you spend doing that architecture and the reward, compensation and how you keep the lights on. So I would love to understand how you approach the business side.
If I showed you our building accounts, you would be panicking. No? No, we are very lucky. We are a very small architectural firm. We have only 3 people working with us, and Axel and me. And we like that scale because if you go bigger, well, at least I cannot cope with making bigger larger scales. No? But we are very lucky. We always have work. We're working all the time. We're building now, which is one of our new buildings in Oaxaca. We're doing a mezcal factory. And it's really interesting because it's, as we are in the wine business, we've done so many wineries. And we've done, I don't know if you've seen in Art Daily, the boats, the turned around boats winery. Well, we've done a lot of things, no? In the wine business and in the mezcal business. So that helps us maintain our office. And the wine is because when you're an architect, I don't know if you all know, but you have two principles. You need to work hard, but you need to party hard. And now the third one, you need to exercise, because otherwise you'll be doomed after that. So no, we are coping with, whenever we have a larger project, we have someone from the outside, because our scale is so small that we don't want to have a large, I don't know if there's another question.
Hello. I was curious, you mentioned how you use the water bottles within the roof structure. How would you use the mattresses that you were talking about?
Well, this is under constructing it in our heads, and we're drawing some things. But the idea is that they're all useless, and they are already a huge piece of wall, or a huge piece of roof. And
insulation.
It's already insulated. It could be casted on both sides so that you can just perforate it and have like a metal little structure, like ¿cómo se dice? Alambrón. Well, I don't know. Like the very thin wires that are yeah, like a,
We understand.
Sí, a mesh, so that it won't go fat, so that it maintains its shape. And the idea is that those walls can be attached to a foundation and can hold a very, very light roof for emergency. The idea is to have this little house for emergency, and maybe in the future we could do a concrete roof so that it won't go away in the next ¿cómo se dice? Hurricane. Because what happened in Acapulco is the climate change.
The climate change, but the bad
he doesn't
design.
agree.
No, but
And bad design.
because it's two ways. It's, of course, it's the weather, but it's not the climate change like an abstract thing. No, of course. But the main thing is the people, the architects that doing this kind of construction in this part of the Mexico. No, it's like you are constructing a bad building in Ciudad de Mexico, and you have the earthquake, and it's the earthquakes. No, it's the architects also.
I agree in that one. Okay.
Gracias.
Sí. And also there's, with the mattresses, it also has a nice story, because we are, I don't know if you've ever been in Mexico City, but if you are living there, there's a car that goes through all the streets in Mexico, and with a recording, sing. Compran colchones baratos, se compran lavadoras, se compra todo lo que ya no les sirvan, all day long. It means we buy mattresses, old mattresses. We buy washing machines. We buy everything. So we are doing that recording to go in Acapulco to say this to people so that they bring the materials. And so we can pay for the materials so that maybe a little help with the economy, you know? And I think that we could do a building with washing machines or with refrigerators or with televisions or with whatever is useless. No? We could, with cars, you can't imagine how many cars were absolutely ruined. So maybe the windows, you could, well, now you don't do that with a window, but you do that, no? But maybe we would have to go back to that, no? So I don't know if you have any ideas, because there's so much destruction. And as much ideas as we can have, maybe we can build the ideas, and we could share knowledge from your side to that side of the earth, no? Of the world. No sé si hay otra. Well, thank you so, so much. Before everyone leaves, no. Sí, thank you so much. Thank you for your attention.